everybody, it's Emily at Arc Schooling and I'm vlogging again. So this is going to be my Hanukkah vlog. Hence the lights in the blue, and you can't see it but my menorah's over there behind me. There it is. So basically my thinking here was that I would do some kind of like each night show you the candles after we light them and the gifts we get. We're doing kind of a whole book thing. I had an idea. This is the first time we've ever really done a real Hanukkah. Last year we did the menorah, but we didn't really do anything else. And so this year I decided let's go all out. Let's do a real Hanukkah. And what is a real Hanukkah? Like my Hanukkahs as a kid meant we get one great present the first night, and then everything else is usually something like, you know, socks, a new shirt, some new crayons, you know, little things. But it would be like some kind of small present each night. So like I remember being a kid and my friends were all like, oh my god, you're so lucky, 8, 9. I'm like, no, it's not what you think. So, it's definitely not quite that. Like I think they were envisioning like 8 Christmases in a row, and it's no. So I wanted to do something kind of fun. So I decided to do kind of like I don't know what to call it. Happy Booknicka? Like, we're gonna do books, but it's just me and Regina and Sarah doing book gifts because my twins don't really read, and I just didn't see the point in buying a bunch of books they're not gonna read. And my husband doesn't read a lot either, so I didn't get him books, but it's fine because I'm getting 8 new books, so that's exciting. So anyway, I also, in the midst of all of that, I wanted to kind of do a reading vlog within. I don't know. I always overplan my reading vlogs and end up disappointing myself that I don't get to all the things. But I do have 4 books in this stack that are all books that I really want to get to this year. But will I get to all of them during Hanukkah? It is 8 days. There's a chance, but probably not likely. So I'll just quickly tell you about the books that I have in my stack here. The one that I'm definitely reading during Hanukkah, like it will happen. It might be the only book I get to in this stack, but this is the one that I bought specifically for this purpose. And that is The Matzah Ball by Jean Metzler. This is like a Hanukkah romance. So I'm thinking it's going to be a quick read. I've heard lots of great things about this. I don't generally read romance, but I was intrigued that it was about Hanukkah, that this has like, it's really funny, it's a lot of Jewish joy and that kind of thing. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's a quick read so that I can get to some other things too. All I know going in is this is about a woman who writes romance novels, but she specifically writes Christmas-themed romance novels because despite the fact that she's a Jew, she loves Christmas. Relatable. And so she is asked by her publisher to do a Hanukkah story, and so that's really all I know. The other book that I'm like, this is a high possibility, is It's a Whole Spiel, Love, Latkes, and Other Jewish Stories, and this is by a variety of YA Jewish authors. And I've had this on my shelf for over a year now, and I'm like, I really should pick this up. This has a Hanukkah story in it, but I don't know which one is the Hanukkah story because it doesn't have a name that like screams Hanukkah. But there's a bunch of stories in here that sound really great. Bunch of authors that I've either read from or am excited to read from. So I'm hoping to do at least a story a day in here. Perhaps more. Maybe I'll finish it during Hanukkah. I don't know, but I would like to get to that. These other 2 books are like alternates. Like I don't think these are going to happen, but it could potentially. I have Broken Strings by Eric Walters and Kathy Kaser, and this is a middle grade story. Yeah, it's set in 2002 in the aftermath of 9/11, and I think it's 2 friends are auditioning for Fiddler on the Roof, and they're uncovering this mystery about one of the characters' grandfather's violin, I think. She knows her Zadie doesn't seem to like music, but she uncovers this violin or something like that, I think, and wants to know more about why he doesn't like the music anymore. And I think he's a Holocaust survivor, so I think it has to do with that. I've heard really good things about this, and I've been dying to pick it up. And then finally, I have a nonfiction. This probably won't be happening this week, but it's a book that I've been really wanting to pick up, and that is Survivor's Cafe, The Legacy of Trauma and the Labyrinth of Memory by Elizabeth Rossner. I've heard really good things about this, and it's basically a story about generational trauma as it relates to Holocaust survivors and how they have passed that trauma down through the generations. So I really want to get to this. I've heard really good things about it, but like I said, these are the ones that I think I'm actually going to get to this week, because I feel like these are both going to be really fast. So anyway, that's my goal, is to get through at least 2 of these books during Hanukkah, and I'll be chatting with you about them as I go. I've got my tree lit with Hanukkah colors, and I got my menorah up here ready to go. I got some really pretty candles. We're gonna make potato latkes tonight, so I'm excited about that. And I think sometime this week, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, but it might be later in the week, Sarah's gonna make us some jelly donut muffins. I made some a little while back, just test it out and see if it was gonna work, and they were really good, because I just don't have it in me to do homemade jelly donuts gluten-free. It's too much. So I made muffins, and we filled them with some jelly, and it's close enough. So we're gonna do that, I think, sometime this week, and I'll probably vlog Sarah cooking muffins. So yeah, I hope you guys will follow me along all week as we celebrate Hanukkah. Here you go, Mom. Rob is ruining your potato latkes.
I wouldn't say ruining.
No, they're going to be delicious, but this is very much not traditional potato latke recipes. He even asked me if it was okay if he made some blasphemous potato latkes. And I wasn't thinking about it, but just said, sure, these are still going to be delicious.
Literally the way I make them all the time.
I know. The famous latke, not latke. It's still potatoes, and it's still cooked in oil, so it counts. Looking more like potato latkes now.
12 here?
I know, okay. They smell amazing.
No.
Or should we do it all at the same time?
All at the same time.
All at the same time? All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, I've heard of this.
Toast.
So this is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr.
It says, When is the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore.
Well, this is framed.
By? Does it have an author? Can you see it?
James
Ponte.
Ponte.
It occurred to me, I never talked about this, but my husband got me and Sarah the Plum Deluxe Hanukkah pack. These are like, I think it's a Hanukkah sampler. So it's 8 tea samples. So we just dump these out. I think it's like 4 caffeine, 4 not caffeine. So they all sound really nice. Some of them I've had before, some I've not. So I don't know what I'm going to drink right now. Ooh, you know what? I might do the Happy Hanukkah green tea because this sounded really nice. It's low caffeine. So I think I'm going to make this one. So Sarah, did you decide what you're going to have?
I couldn't decide between these two.
Okay, so I'm going to have the Happy Hanukkah green tea, and Sarah is going to do the maple ginger butterscotch because this is like my new favorite tea and she hasn't had it yet. So she's going to have that. Hanukkah day 2. You ready?
No.
1, 2, 3. Open your Booknica presents. Booknica? Ho ho! Oh, this is cool. I knew this was a thing, but I didn't buy it. I got the Dave Grohl, like, is this his memoir? He wrote this, right? This is Dave Grohl's memoir.
Oh.
This is cool.
This is How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow, and I have not heard of this book.
Really?
No.
I've heard of it a bunch of times. I thought it was, I'm
My
pretty
brother
sure it was
told
on your
me.
radar. What does it say?
Spirit Hunters.
By Ellen O. That's a spooky story. So really, you don't know what that is?
No.
Wow. I've surprised Sarah.
I think
Oh.
Spirit Hunters.
Drew.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Hello.
This is very cool.
Hello.
Bless you.
hey Mom, what does this say? Read this. Which one does this say?
It's Michael.
How do you spell Mitchell?
Michael.
No, how do you
Mitchell
spell?
has a T in it.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. This is very cool. Third night of Hanukkah. No, sorry. Okay, third night. Everyone hold up your gift. What do you think it's going to be?
I hope it's a book.
Well, I mean, I know it's a book. Because it's Booknica. Okay,
I hope it's not.
on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've never heard of this book. I have Miss Eliza's English Kitchen, a novel of Victorian cookery and friendship. I have no idea what this is. I've never heard of this before, but I am very intrigued because Victorian and food.
And I got The Forest of Stolen Girls by June Her.
My method here was buy this because I also would like to read it.
But it's my book.
But it is your book. It is yours. It
Different
belongs to you.
confidence
But I must
code.
borrow.
Living the confidence code.
Living the Confidence Code. This was a cool book because this is like a bunch of different authors, I think. And they're writing short stories, and some of them are like the pictures and graphic novel type stuff, and it's just about different people and kids. So they're like real stories about real kids
Okay.
learning how to be confident.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, right? So, everyone hold up your book. Hanukkah, day 4, night 4. All right, you guys ready?
No.
We're gonna count to 3. 1,
Oh, no.
2, 3. Open and see what you got.
Oh, hi, Drew.
Hello. Ooh, what is this? This is a book I don't think I've actually ever heard of. Anna Reese Witherspoon book club? How have I never heard of this? I have
What's this for?
The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak, I think. This is cool. I don't know what this is at all, but I like the cover.
I got Rain Is Not My Indian Name by Cynthia Maytick Smith.
I got The Orchard Boy.
Wait. Whoa.
Ah, yes, I picked that book for a very specific reason. Are we holding up your books? I thought it would be fun to do kind of like a story time element to this vlog, because otherwise I don't know that I'm going to have enough content, like, to feel like a real vlog. So I thought I'd start with, like, what Hanukkah is, because I think it often gets kind of confused as being Jewish Christmas. And while it's kind of treated that way commercially, that's not what it is. Hanukkah is more about Jews fighting against assimilation. It's based on a story. For one, it's not a biblical holiday. It's not in the Torah. It's not in the Bible. It's like a historical holiday. That's why it's often referred to as a minor holiday, because it isn't a commanded holiday as in like Passover is, for example. But it's still, I don't know, it's still kind of an important holiday, and it's also one of my favorite ones for many reasons. But the holiday itself is based on a time in history when the Syrian Greeks were ruling over Judea and basically enforcing that all the Jews had to assimilate into Greek culture. They had to worship the Greek gods and all of that stuff. And some did, but some fought against it. And the leader of those that were fighting against it was Judah the Maccabee. And he and his band of followers were able to overcome the Syrians. And in the process of getting this victory, the temple, which is like the most holy place for Jews in Judea, was destroyed and desecrated, and they were able to only salvage enough oil to light the lamp for one night, but the lamp wasn't supposed to ever go out. It's the eternal flame kind of a situation. So they had one night's worth of oil, and it would take them about a week to make more. So the miracle of light is that the oil lasted for 8 days. Hence, we celebrate Hanukkah for 8 nights. And we light candles for those 8 nights in like symbolic gesture showing like the miracle of the light. So, for me, as a kid growing up, I was obsessed with Christmas. I hated that we didn't get to have a Christmas tree. I desperately wanted a Christmas tree. I kept trying to convince my mother we could call it a Hanukkah bush, whatever you want. We can decorate it with Stars of David, and it would be a Hanukkah tree, a Hanukkah bush of some sort. But she would never go along with that. The aspect I liked about Hanukkah was that the lights are nice. I love candlelight. I love candles. So that part has always just been very cozy and happy for me. And of course the potato latkes, which are cooked in oil. Again, you see a theme here with the oil. And so that was always another favorite thing, was gorging myself on potato latkes, smothered in sour cream. And we always had a Hanukkah party at our synagogue, and the sisterhood ladies would make tons of potato latkes. I think it was my grandmother who created the Hanukkah bear, because they used to do Santa for my mom and her brothers and decided they didn't like doing Santa because Santa was a Christian thing. So my grandmother, my bubby, invented the Hanukkah bear. And so when I was a kid, we had the Hanukkah bear. And he came on the first night of Hanukkah and left us our big fancy present. And so I was always so excited to see what the Hanukkah bear was going to bring me. And it was when I was about 10 years old that I asked one of my friends at synagogue, like I think we were at Sunday school, and I'm like, hey, what did the Hanukkah bear bring you? And she just gave me the weirdest look. And that's when I realized that there was no Hanukkah bear. But I liked the story of it. Is Mendel Ben Bruin, this little bear cub, was just happened to be in Judea, as bears often were, and was in the temple and was there to witness the miracle of lights, and he was so excited about it that he wanted to share that news with everyone, and decided to do that by bringing presents to all the good little Jewish girls and boys. So that's how we celebrated Hanukkah when I was a kid. The first night we got our big present, and that's what the Hanukkah bear brought, and then everything else was usually, little things like new socks, maybe a new shirt or pair of pants, crayons, pencils, little things like that. So I started reading the matzo ball, but I'm only a chapter in because that's as far as I've gotten so far. Have not really had a ton of time to read, but I'm going to try to read some more today. I really like this so far, actually. I really wasn't sure going in what I was going to think of this, because it is a romance, which is generally just not a thing I enjoy reading, but I really like the Jewishness of the story. Like, this is clearly a book by a Jew written for Jews, because there's just so much stuff in here that even me, I don't know what's happening. I don't always follow. There's a lot of Yiddish, there's a lot of Hebrew thrown in, and it's making me realize that I basically, even though I was raised Jewish, was also raised very secularly Jewish. So there's a lot going on in here. Like, I never went to a Jewish summer camp. That was not a thing we would have been able to afford when I was a kid, so no summer camps. The closest I got to that was I was in the BBYO when I was in high school, and even that was really not very Jewish. Like, it was basically a bunch of teenagers in a room hanging out, watching movies, and I'm gonna go read now. Actually, I'm gonna go take my dog for a walk, and then I'm gonna go read. Hanukkah night 5. What are we gonna open? What's it gonna be?
A book.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Sarah, you started before I counted. Sarah's excited. I opened it on the back. What is this? What is it? Oh, yes! I am hyped.
My prediction came true.
Your prediction? You were expecting that?
Because I remember having a face-to-face conversation to you about wanting to get this book.
Yes.
So I got Summer Sons by Liam Mendel.
Mom.
Hey, you got a graphic novel. It's a sticker. It'll come up.
Only like what
It's the Cardboard Kingdom.
It says it on the sticker.
Cardboard.
And I have The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling, which I specifically requested, I think.
Cardboard Kingdom.
This is a book I've been wanting. Hanukkah night 6, right? Yes, 6. Let's see what we got for Booknica. Night 6. I don't know what this could be. It's paperback though.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because I can tell. It feels like paperback. It's floppy. Ooh. The Bookseller of Dachau by Sherry J. Ryan. I don't know this one.
I got Audacity by Melanie Carter.
I loved that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, wait a second.
I wanted you to read it. Yes, I thought that was so good. I was so excited about this book for you, Regina.
What is
Read
it?
it. Read what it says.
The First War of Punk.
That looks like such a fun book. So I hope you like it. What night is it? Night 7. Hanukkah night 7. Mine feels big. This is a big book.
Mine feels like a book.
Does it? Okay, let's see what we got. Everyone ready?
No?
Open.
Our book.
Ooh.
Our book.
Oh, hi. What do you think? Ooh. What did you get, Regina?
I hope myself feel good.
You okay?
No.
Oh, dear. You can tough it out for a present. Ooh, that's another good one. Okay, everyone show what you got. I got Under Jerusalem by Andrew Lawler. I think this is nonfiction. I'm excited.
I got The Project by Courtney Summers.
I got Why Do You Trap a Title?
Ooh, that's a good story. I've heard a lot of good
When
things
it
about that.
rails, you want to go and then eat you. Like horribly.
Everyone show your books. Show your books.
With the holes, you let it go and then we eat you.
That is one way to trap a tiger, I guess. So I finished reading The Matzo Ball, and it took me the entirety of Hanukkah to get through. I don't know what's happening. It's like, I don't think I'm in a reading slump, and yet I appear to be in a reading slump. I don't know. I didn't dislike this book. I don't normally read romance, and I went in, like, not necessarily expecting to dislike it, but just with very low expectations. I figured, worst case, I would push myself to just get through it. But best case, maybe it would surprise me. And this book did actually surprise me. This was much better than I thought it was going to be. This is a story about a Jewish woman who, her parents are like super religious. Her father is like a world famous rabbi, and she just has a lot of expectations put upon her. She's also chronically ill. And so a lot of the story has to do with like her life dealing with being chronically ill. But she also loves Christmas, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about that part of the story, but I think it worked really well. And like she's hiding the fact that she's this like world famous author of Christmas romance from her family and friends, and like that's a big part of the story, and like everything kind of hinges on the fact that she's hiding this information from people. I don't know, I kind of feel like this was probably a very typical, like the romance part of this was very bland. I don't know, I wasn't really, I didn't care so much about that aspect of the story, and I don't know, it just felt very sort of boring. Like I didn't feel like there was this big romance in here. The story, the parts of the story that I did enjoy were the parts about like her life and her upbringing and just the so much Jewishness. It was great. And like her relationship with her family and her relationship with Christmas and her best friend Mickey, and like those were the parts of the story that I really, really, really loved. So yeah, I gave this like 3.5 stars. I think it's a great story. If you really like romance and really fast-paced reads, because this was fast-paced despite it taking me the full week to read. I don't know how that makes sense, but it does. I thought it was fun. If you enjoy romance and cute stories and Jewishness and all of that, highly recommend.
Hanukkah.
On the last night of
And
Hanukkah,
Hanukkah.
we each got one more book.
And the book
All right,
is
you ready?
good.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, now.
Ooh, I don't know what this is,
Oh.
but it's pretty. Ooh. I say ooh, like I didn't know you were going to get that.
You did it?
I did. What do you got, Regina? Let's see it.
It's green. Oh, green.
Oh, do you know what that is?
No.
Look at the author's name. Do you know what that person wrote? Sweep. This is their other book. Okay, so hold up your book. I got Light Perpetual, a novel by Francis Spufford. I don't know what this is at all, but it's very pretty. I'll have to read this synopsis. What do you have, Sarah?
I've got The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is of the Night Gardener.
And I got
Gardener.
the night garden all.
Cool. So, here we are, the day after the 8th night of Hanukkah, and I thought I'd just like kind of do a wrap up because even though I showed the books, I didn't really talk about them. So I thought I would kind of go through the 8 books I received. I'm not going to do the books that Sarah and Regina got. So that's not happening, but I'll show you the 8 books that Rob gave me for Hanukkah. So I don't think these are in order of when I got them. I just have the stack that I've been like keeping here. So I'm just going to go through them. So the first book I'm showing you is The Bookseller of Dachau. This is by Sherry J. Ryan, and this is a Holocaust story. And the author is basing this story on her grandmother, I believe. So this is like a family history kind of story, and it goes back and forth in time. I'm really looking forward to picking this up because I'm always down to read another Holocaust, like, not memoir, I guess, but story about a family and like their survival and that kind of thing. So really excited to pick that up. I have Miss Eliza's English Kitchen, a novel of Victorian cookery and friendship, and this is by Annabelle Abbs. This sounds delightful. I love Victorian England, anything. Like, give me all the Victorian. And this is about cooking, and there's recipes in it, and it just sounds like this is going to be like the coziest of cozy books. I love when recipes are included in a story that's about food, because I'm always finding myself wanting to try the things. So really looking forward to reading that. I'm still trying to figure out what this one's about. This is Light Perpetual by Francis Spufford. This is a book about like the lives of children after World War II in London. Like, I guess the rebuilding of London and then like their lives through like the history. I don't know. But it starts on like lunchtime on Saturday in 1944, and it kind of goes through these children's adult lives. So it's kind of a literary fiction-y kind of a story, I think, more than like normal historical fiction, but it's also historical fiction because it's going through history. So I don't really know how to explain this book, but it's very pretty. Like, I like the colors. I don't see books like this very often, but these color tones, these jewel tones, I like that. I have Under Jerusalem by Andrew Lawler. This is the buried history of the world's most contested city. This sounds really interesting. This is all about like the catacombs and tombs and all these like things underneath Jerusalem. And I love this kind of stuff. I used to want to be an archaeologist because I just thought the whole concept of like there's history right under your feet. I just thought that was so cool. And so this is very much up my alley as far as like what kind of history stuff I like to read. Rob is doing great. He did really well picking books for me. So this sounds fascinating. The other nonfiction he got me is Dave Grohl's memoir. Oh my god. So this is The Storyteller, Tales of Life and Music. I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan. Loved Nirvana back in the day. Love the Foo Fighters. I've seen them in concert. I wish I'd seen Nirvana in concert. Oh my god, can you imagine? So I'm really looking forward to reading this because I just think he's such a cool guy, and I'm fascinated by the fact that he just figured out how to play drums and guitar, and he could play literally any instrument and sing, and I don't know, to me that's magic. So really excited to read more about his life. I got The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Sterling. This was the book I specifically requested. I knew Rob was thinking of getting me books for Hanukkah because I told him that I was going to be getting Sarah and Regina books, and he said, oh, maybe I'll get you books too. I'm like, well, if you do, I want this one. It had been sitting in my cart for a while, and I kept not buying it because I was trying to be a responsible adult and not buy all the things. So I let him buy it for me instead. Whatever. So I'm really looking forward to it. This is gothic horror. I really don't know much more than that. Practical, unassuming Jane Shoringfield. She wants to get married so she can have a respectable life. Comfortable life, but I get the feeling that there's something going on here. I don't know. I'm really intrigued and I really want to read this. I just think this cover is very weird and creepy too. Then he got me Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I have never read anything by Anthony Doerr, but I know people just love his books. So I'm really curious to read this. This sounds interesting too because it's multiple time periods following different children in history. So it's set in Constantinople in the 15th century, a small town in present-day Idaho, and then you're going into the future and following another child on an interstellar ship. So I'm fascinated by that concept of 3 different time periods, 3 different children. How do these lives connect in some way? I don't know, but I find this really intriguing. Maybe I'll make this a book club pick. What do you guys think? Book club? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. That might push me to get through it. And then the last book I have to show you is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. And I don't really know too much about what this is either. 2 teenagers, a Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot, meet at a taverna on the island they both call home. In the taverna, hidden beneath garlands of garlic, chili peppers, and creeping honeysuckle, Costas and Daphne, grow in their forbidding love for each other. A fig tree stretches through the cavity in the roof, and this tree bears witness to their hushed, happy meetings, and eventually to their silent, surreptitious departures. The tree is there when war breaks out, when the capital is reduced to ashes and rubble, and when the teenagers vanish. Decades later, Costas returns. He is a botanist looking for native species, but really he's searching for lost love. So it sounds really, really lovely and interesting, and I've not heard anything about this book, so I'm really intrigued, especially by the place and all of that. So I don't know. I feel like this might be an amazing story. So those are the books I got for Hanukkah. I think Rob did a pretty good job here. These are all things that I either, I've never heard of but sound really amazing, or I have heard of and really wanted. So it's a very heavy stack. So I hope you guys had fun following us through Hanukkah. I feel like this vlog was kind of a mess. I don't know. But that's all my vlogs. I feel like I don't know that I've gotten the hang of this yet. But, I do my best. So I hope you had fun. Happy Hanukkah if you celebrated. And I will see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.